my name is Caitlin Anderson, and today I will be discussing suicide rates among gender diverse youths in Washington State. We are going to be looking at what is needed to address the high suicide rate among gender diverse youths in Washington State from a public health standpoint. So, for a little background, among all youths in Washington, suicide is the second leading cause of death, with 23% of high school sophomores reporting considering attempting suicide in the past year. The fact that nearly a quarter of all 15 to 16-year-olds have considered attempting suicide is on its own incredibly alarming. However, when we consider that gender diverse adolescents are 200% to 400% more likely than their cisgendered peers to attempt or commit suicide, it becomes clear that this is a public health crisis that requires urgent attention. Many behavioral and environmental factors can contribute to increased suicide rates in this population, which means there isn't necessarily one clear path forward. The system in which we are operating includes families of gender diverse youths. There is significant evidence that supports a strong correlation between better communication and reduced symptoms of anxiety and depression. So, our intervention would be most impactful by targeting the parents or caregivers of gender diverse youths. Cultural barriers can impact parents when trying to support their gender diverse children. Improving family cohesion will require educating parents about gender affirming techniques and the importance of providing emotional support to their children. Designing the appropriate curriculum and subsequently teaching this material will require collaborating with a variety of stakeholders within the community. Overall, within this system, there is currently a significant lack of knowledge among parents of gender diverse youths. This lack of knowledge leads to a disconnect between parent and child, which translates to a lack of emotional support and ultimately takes a toll on the mental health of gender diverse youths and increases their risk of suicide. Our upstream change to be truly effective needs to focus on the parents. By providing educational classes targeted for parents of gender diverse youths, public health can effectively impact this system. These educational sessions can focus on gender identity, sexual health education specific to gender diverse youths, gender affirming techniques, and the importance of emotionally supporting gender diverse youths. In order to promote attendance, classes will be 1 hour once a week for 4 weeks and will be offered in person and remotely. Evidence to support the efficacy of this intervention includes a study in which Seattle Children's Gender Clinic participated. The study showed that parents had large knowledge gaps about gender dysphoria, gender identity, gender affirming treatments, the process of transitioning, and sexual health education specific to gender diverse youths. So basically, the parents were unfamiliar with pretty much everything that the researchers asked them about. When interviewing the gender diverse children of these parents, the youths mentioned that they were frustrated with needing to constantly educate their parents on these topics, and they reported feeling that parents should proactively research this information to better understand and support their children. This disconnect led to a reported lack of family cohesion and difficulties in communicating. The results of this study are concerning. The data also shows that gender diverse individuals are twice as likely to attempt suicide if they experience even moderate levels of rejection from their families. Moving forward, the impact of this intervention would be improved communication skills and knowledge among parents, which would lead to improved connectedness and support among families. There is significant evidence that supports that this strong correlation between high familial support and improved mental health. Here's a visual depiction of this theory of change from a public health perspective. It's a high-level overview, so we'll go into more details later in the presentation, but the problem is that suicide rates are disproportionately high among gender-diverse youths. The target audience includes parents because this will likely lead to the most impactful change of building family support. Steps we need to take for this change to take place include collaborating across sectors to plan, design, implement, and promote an educational series of classes for parents. We can measure our work through analysis of survey results and public health data trends. And this work has a high potential to stimulate broader cultural awareness and acceptance of gender diversity, which will promote a culture of safety and inclusion for gender diverse youths and ultimately decrease rates of suicide among this population. As for assumptions, we're assuming that gender affirming care is something that can be taught, and we're also assuming that parents are willing and open to learning about gender affirming care. So, for partnerships, we will want to collaborate with a variety of sectors as they each offer unique perspectives when creating gender affirmative care educational resources. When creating the curriculum, pediatric primary care, gender care specialists, community based organizations, and schools will all need to design an effective curriculum for the course of classes. We will need to collaborate with them to identify significant knowledge gaps among parents and discuss how to present the information in a way that would elicit a high level of participation. When the curriculum is created and health educators have been identified to teach the classes, we will need to collaborate with our community on promoting these classes. Referrals can be placed at primary care and gender care clinics, while community based organizations can share information about classes on social media and newsletters. And finally, schools are in an optimal position to connect with families. As for power dynamics, it'll be important for it during our first planning session to define roles and expectations. And additionally, we should emphasize that all sectors will benefit by having a population of gender diverse youth who are happier and healthier because of improved emotional support at home. Some facilitators to consider include the fact that this change aligns with public health's mission to address health inequities. Additionally, grants for funding this intervention will likely be accessible as this is a topic of significant attention and public concern. And there's expected to be a high level of buy-in from our community partners and parent participants. Parent groups and LGBTQIA plus advocacy groups will likely be passionate in creating positive change for this topic as it impacts them intimately and powerfully. As for barriers, we have to acknowledge the fact that some parents are not going to even want to engage in these classes because of their deep-rooted cultural or religious beliefs. Hopefully, after changes are implemented over the course of time, we will see broader cultural acceptance of gender diversity. Another barrier would be the limited time and staffing resources that is felt across healthcare sectors. Engaging in the project planning, curriculum creation, and dissemination of resources will put pressure on the limited availability of these resources. But it should also be noted that lower rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide among gender diverse youth will ultimately lead to less healthcare utilization overall. While it is also a facilitator, the emotional buy in from our partners and participants may also act as a barrier at times if disagreements arise. So, our evaluation plan includes administering surveys to both the parents and their children before initiation and after completion of the course, as well as a 3-month and 1-year post course follow up. Parent surveys will assess for knowledge gaps as well as level of comfort and confidence when discussing gender affirming topics. The results of these surveys will be shared with appropriate partners to collaborate in monitoring the program's impact. For short-term outcomes, we can analyze the pre- and post-course survey results as well as the 3-month follow-up survey results to assess for improved parental levels of confidence and comfort in communicating. For youth survey results, we will hope to see an increased sense of support from parents and decreased symptoms of anxiety and depression. At the 1-year mark, we will follow up with our cross-sector partners to gather insights on any anecdotal changes they have witnessed. We will also analyze survey results to assess for sustainability of changes in the household. As for our long-term outcome, we will assess public health data to hopefully see decreased rates of suicide among gender diverse youths. In order to sustain and hopefully expand this program to include other states, we will need to consider incorporating a Train the Trainer program and a robust data system. Train the Trainer programs will increase availability of health educators at a low cost and will help to identify community champions. A robust and accessible data system will facilitate widespread data sharing and trend monitoring abilities. This information can be used to tailor the intervention as needed. And here are my references. Thank you so much.